Worksharp presents the Northwest Outdoorsman.
Let's just get in that little draw right there, this first one, and go down.
Yeah, baby.
Right on.
Right on, huh?
Nice fish.
That's a nice cooking.
That is awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Going down. Boom!
Oh, yeah.
Got him. Now we're having fun.
Having lots of fun. Anytime I can go fishing, I'm having fun.
Yep, first day.
See if he's a good enough one to shoot. Let's go see if we can catch him. Okay.
This week on the Northwest Outdoorsman,
Sweated so much my head even lost weight. Parked here and got out, and here's elk tracks right here. This is where they had all the railroad tracks going through here. Did a lot of logging in here in the 30s.
Howard Harrod pursues elk in eastern Oregon.
Clean this.
Walk straight for that little tree.
Good job.
Worksharp presents the Northwest Outdoorsman, brought to you by Max Lure, Whitewater Lodge, Lodestar Outfitters, Procure Bait Sense, Valley Marine, Micklich, Wolf Creek Hunting, Atomica Music. There is no doubt that hunting elk in the Pacific Northwest is mentally and physically demanding. Elk travel great distances over rugged terrain and seemingly disappear into the vast landscape. Howard Harrod has hunted elk with great success for more than 50 years in the mountains of eastern Oregon. But now, in his 70s, the challenge to harvest one of these majestic beasts seems more daunting than ever. The hills are steep, the elk are scarce, but Howard's long quest ends with success.
I had an elk tag for Seneca, and it was a draw tag, and it was a hair tag. I could shoot any elk. I've drawn the last 10 years, I've maybe drawn it 3 times. We got up the first morning, and we had a spot picked out to go elk hunting. We took 2 rigs because we wanted to go up on top of this one mountain and then take a hike through and then come and get out at the bottom, and we didn't want to have to walk back up. Pretty good meadows and stuff along this side here. Give them a chance to. If somebody wants to come up the road, they can turn around behind us.
Now we wait.
Yeah,
I went hunting with Dad, hoping I could help him get an elk.
you bet. I'm ready. I got this feeling. It's gonna be good.
I really enjoy elk hunting, and I was really hoping I could help Dad with his hunt.
Okay. And we hunted quite a ways. I mean, it took us quite a while to get through there. We wandered through. Don't see anything. Just beautiful country, trees, nice big pines, open country, you know.
I think he thinks he's a bull.
Dad shot several elk during his lifetime, and he has all kinds of stories from hunting back in the 70s.
And 3 bulls elk came down this trail, one right behind them, just walking, just like they didn't know anybody was around, you know. We'll just walk out here on the end and look back, I guess. We always take our snacks with us, and we went on down the hill and stopped and had our snacks, and it was just beautiful. I mean, we were just sitting there commenting how beautiful that country is, and you know, how big the timber is.
We took a break on the hillside there, ate a little snack, and then we headed back. I mean, Dad kind of has a tough time because his knees are kind of sore, and going down the steep hills makes it tough.
Ooh, Richie, a nice sight.
You made it.
Yeah, heard one, didn't get to see it, but we jumped something.
Yeah.
So that evening we decided to go out and see if we could see any elk, and so we went south and went out and walked up this draw, and we parked here and got out, and here's elk tracks right here. So maybe we'll see something. This is where they had all the railroad tracks going through here. Did a lot of logging in here in the 30s. Went up and didn't see anything on the way up, and so we timber got a little thicker, and so we went up, come back down and sat next to this kind of opening, a big meadow there. We sat there for quite a while, and it started to get dark, so we decided to go back on to the house because we hadn't seen anything. Another good place. Just didn't see any elk. I think they're in here though. I think we'll find
A lot of tracks.
a lot of tracks.
Coming up after the break,
It's gonna be a nice day.
Kind of steep little road, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Worksharp presents the Northwest Outdoorsman, brought to you by Max Lure, Whitewater Lodge, Lodestar Outfitters, Procure Bait Sense, Valley Marine, Micklich, Wolf Creek Hunting, Atomica Music. Welcome back to Howard's Elk Hunt.
We sat there for quite a while, and it started to get dark, so we decided to go back on to the house because we hadn't seen anything. Another good place. Just didn't see any elk. I think they're in here though. I think we'll find
A lot of tracks.
a lot of tracks. So the next morning we went out, and basically in the same area, but it was another draw a little further up. Day 2.
Day 2.
Yeah. So yesterday we were on the north end of the unit, and today we're on the south end of the unit.
Yeah.
Had quite a little hike up into there, same thing, just nice country. It's gonna be a nice day. Open country, and we went up in there, and all of a sudden the coyote came out. We sat there and watched the coyote. That was pretty good.
I think he saw you.
They get good eyes, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Sure looks like good country, Rich. Didn't see anything, and turned around and come back, and we sat next to this meadow. It's kind of an old railroad bed. One thing we did see though is on that old railroad track, we found an old rail that was bent.
I really enjoy learning about the history of the Pacific Northwest, and those old pioneers were a tough bunch of folks now, let me tell you.
Well, as we were hunting and going around there, I was telling the boys about the railroad tracks that used to go up in the trees there, and there's some trestles out in that country, and so we went up there and got out and walked down this one old abandoned railroad track. Pretty amazing actually that those guys could build a railroad track around some of those hills.
In 1928, Edward Hines Lumber Company bought the Bear Valley Timber Sale. They completed the railroad from Burns to Seneca, and then they built a spur line from Seneca out to what's called Camp 1. And the purpose of Camp 1 was to cut railroad ties for spur line railroads for this Bear Valley Timber Sale. It was a really interesting period because it was the transition time from horse logging to cat and equipment logging. It was all hand saws, so this was rugged work. Fallers who would cut the trees down. They had steam-powered loaders. Now, Camp 1 was a pretty amazing thing because there were 50 four-man bunkhouses, so over 200 men. It was the real transition from the homestead era here in Bear Valley to the logging era.
You want to go this way?
We want to kind of go that way anyway.
Okay. So like the third day, we went up pretty high, and the wind was blowing, terrible wind. And we got out and hiked a while. Didn't see any tracks, didn't see anything. Wind was terrible. Looks like it's after the rain, you know, but a few days old. So we made a big sweep around and then basically went back to the rig. We went up that evening again then and went out, walked up this hill off this fence line, got up there and wasn't seeing much of anything, and then all of a sudden we heard some noise and everything, and then we thought, man, we got into some elk, you know. Turned out to be some wild horses. They're pretty exciting to watch, you know, but wasn't our elk. We kind of messed around there a little bit and then went back to pickup. That was about all we could do. Well, the hunting in Seneca was poor. I mean, it was actually really bad. Weather was warm. Seemed like the elk had pulled out of there. I mean, so we decided just to quit hunting up there and wait a little later, maybe, you know, go hunting a little later in the year, and which we was able to do because we have a really good friend that has a ranch out here, and he suggested that we could have one of his special landowner tags. I see some elk right over in that draw that you were talking about, Justice.
Oh, yep, working our way right up there.
There's to hit into that draw.
Coming up after the break,
That might be able to drift over them.
Worksharp presents the Northwest Outdoorsman, brought to you by Max Lure, Whitewater Lodge, Lodestar Outfitters, Procure Bait Sense, Valley Marine, Micklich, Wolf Creek Hunting, Atomica Music. Welcome back to the hunt in North Powder.
So we decided just to quit hunting up there and wait a little later, maybe, you know, go hunting a little later in the year, and which we was able to do because we have a really good friend that has a ranch out here, and he suggested that we could have one of his special landowner tags.
Justice and I were talking on the phone about how tough Dad's hunt was, and he offered that we could come to his place for a landowner damage elk tag.
All I gotta do is get my shooting stick.
You need to carry anything, Howard?
It just takes me a while to get going.
Good.
I'm kind of slow,
Oh, you're
as
fine.
Rich would say.
We'll just walk up the road and then we'll get up underneath that tree.
There's these tags out there that are available to the actual general public. They're called deprivation tags. And so the purpose of these tags are really to help the landowner out. The landowner is the same as any other hunter if they even hunt. They're only allowed one animal for the year. So the whole point of these is to really help out people in the agricultural, the landowners getting crop damage and they're getting fence damage. They're coming in on haystacks and those types of things.
A little warmer today. I'm not really sure if anybody over on the next place is doing this.
We sat there and talked, and we did see some bucks, some whitetail bucks. And man, I tell you what, we saw a couple of really nice whitetail bucks coming out of the field.
I think they're working their way up. They probably already came from the bottom. The plan will be kind of after it gets a little further along, we're for sure that nothing's probably going to come up and out from out the open. We'll walk the skirt of those trees there. See if we can get something to pop out.
I see some elk right over in that draw that you were talking about, Justice.
Oh, yep, working their way right up there.
They're to hit into that draw.
Yeah, boy.
So we knew that the elk, where we last saw them, they go into a spot that I call a moon crescent draw. They typically like to bed up there, and so I thought maybe if we could get ahead of them and they were still there, the wind was blowing just right, that we could actually get up on top of them and actually hunt our way down through there.
And then we'll just kind of skirt around the timber and then make our way over there.
That's from the truck stop.
Oh, okay.
That might have been where he was raised, you know.
Yeah, in that wood pile there is actually a well casing.
So when we was walking over there, there was an old cabin there, and we started talking about this old cabin. Yeah, we'd have to put some windows in it, I think, and maybe repair the floor.
But yeah, this used to all have the orchard up here. That's the original well casing to establish it.
We waited a little while and went around. Then we got back on the four-wheelers.
Up there, it's kind of the seating you can't really see, but there's two more saddles on the backside.
Between my lungs and my knees, I don't think I'd make it there.
No, I mean, we got the road that goes right there. It's not gonna spook anything out.
We got back to the four-wheelers, loaded up, and headed over to the spot where we had seen the elk a little bit earlier.
We'll just kind of follow this trail up and it'll kind of skirt around here.
Got off the four-wheelers and walked on around and got up in front of them. And we walked around there and didn't see anything. They must have went out a little different direction or whatever, and we didn't get to see any elk. And turned and went that way, I bet you.
I bet so.
Yeah, because nothing crossed where we came across there.
No, they didn't. So I'm guessing they stuck kind of lower.
And then they just kind of disappeared. So that was pretty much the end of it for the first morning there. Justice couldn't hunt with us that evening. He had to go home for some reason. Rich and I went back up, and we went back out pretty much in the same area. We were sitting there on a stand, and all of a sudden Rich spotted some out to our left there. We decided to see if we could get on them, so we went back over and then walked up in there. And we got in there pretty close to them, within about 300 yards.
Coming up after the break,
Clean, yes.
What? They've already hit the tree line.
Worksharp presents the Northwest Outdoorsman, brought to you by Max Lure, Whitewater Lodge, Lodestar Outfitters, Procure Bait Sense, Valley Marine, Micklich, Wolf Creek Hunting, Atomica Music. Welcome back. Howard's pursuit of a cow elk is nearing its end.
Rich and I went back up pretty much in the same area. We were sitting there on a stand, and all of a sudden Rich spotted some out to our left there. That's quite a ways. We decided to see if we could get on them, so we went back over and then walked up in there. We got in there pretty close to them, within about 300 yards. It kind of opened up into this meadow, and so we was afraid to cross that meadow. We was afraid the elk could see us, so kind of worked our way through the trees the best we could and got to an opening where I could take a shot. I thought maybe I could shoot this one cow from that 300-yard distance. Clean this. We'll come back tomorrow. So we decided to go walk over there and make sure. So we walked over there on that hillside and looked around. We had missed. You bet. That'd be great. Maybe we can get into them right here again.
This morning we came up with a kind of our game plan, and we got here a little bit earlier and decided we were going to go kind of over towards that area where we saw the elk in the previous morning.
The lay of the land when you get up high. Sometimes it's kind of confusing. So we decided to go right back over where we had shot at that one the night before. Like I said, if I had the right yardage, I'd have probably killed it. And then we decided just to take off walking and make a little swing around to where we thought maybe those elk had gone, you know, up that draw there.
So we went ahead and we started heading north, and we came to basically a little saddle. I decided, I told Howard, I'll go up ahead here and just look over the top so you don't have to climb all the way up here, just in case there's nothing even there.
they've hit the tree line.
What?
They've already hit the tree line, but they're just barely inside the tree line.
So he goes up there, and sure enough, he sees them. They're going around the base of the hill.
So we worked our way up, basically a lone pine tree and a big scruff of sagebrush.
We're pretty close, and we thought maybe we could get a shot there. We could see them, but we couldn't see them well enough to take a shot.
Dad sure seemed a little tentative after having missed that elk the night before, and so it was pretty clear he wanted to get a little closer.
We get almost up there, and we could see them again, further out in the trees.
Good job, Howard.
Yeah, he's all by himself. See, I can shoot.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
There's just a whole bunch of them that's running across there, and all of a sudden it just kind of opened up, and then this cow was just standing there by herself, and I shot. And that was pretty cool.
I don't know, that might have just been the way the light hitting it.
It was just fun. I mean, not every day you see that many elk, you get a chance to get one. Pretty good, Rich.
It was so awesome to see Dad shoot that cow elk. You know, it's a really special thing, being with your dad, sharing that experience. You know, it just doesn't really get any better than that.
Elk hunting is just really something magical. It just never gets old.
It's real rewarding to take that much meat home.
Now it's time for another Harrod's Cookhouse recipe, brought to you by Mickledge, the Spokane Spice Company since 1948. Today we are making elk and broccoli. Start by cutting about 2 pounds of elk steak into bite-sized strips. Slice half an onion and dice 2 cloves of garlic. Place steak and garlic into hot oiled pan. Season with Harrod's Cookhouse Northwest Steak Seasoning, add onions and brown meat. Chop 2 large bunches of broccoli and set aside. Mix together teriyaki sauce, soy sauce, and water. Add cornstarch and mix thoroughly. Add broccoli to the meat until it begins to soften. Add sauce mixture, cook until it thickens. Serve over rice and enjoy. For this and other great recipes, visit the Harrod Outdoors website. Tune in next week for another great wild game recipe.
It was a real opportune time for everyone in Bear Valley because now there were jobs available. And the logs, like I was saying, were all cut by hand, and those old-time sawyers told me that you could see almost a quarter mile in any direction. It was like a park. And they said it really wasn't that bad cutting. Your body